Great. So welcome everyone to our amazing speaker community call that we are arranging for you every month. And just a little bit of a background. I mean, I've been a speaker myself for many years, and I met a lot of speakers and entrepreneurs and change makers that want to make a bigger impact in the world. And we thought, hey, why don't we come together once a month to really look at what can we do to really spread our wings and make our speaker business flourish even further. And we also have a community which is called the Heart Power Global Nation. It's a Facebook community, and again, we launched it, pretty much when Corona hit all of us. We said we need to come closer together and support and exchange with each other. So if you're not a member of that yet, I think Apple is going to share the link in the chat. Please join us so you'll never miss any of these sessions again. And just some of you don't know me very well, so let me introduce myself. I'm the founder of Heart Powered Business, because I believe that when we run business from the using the power of our heart, we make all the difference and create magic. Our mantra is speak up, scale up, impact the world. And we've helped hundreds of clients from more than 50 countries to really go professional with their speaking, to even double, triple, quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework, by helping them really use the power of their voice, use their speaking to grow and scale their business. And I've been also myself been a paid speaker for more than 20 years, been on stages in more than 25 countries on 5 continents. And if you really want to use speaking to grow your business, well, I'll also share with you a special gift today. It's called my Speak to Scale map. Apple is going to share the link again in the chat. And if you want to get your hands on that, if you want to know more about what can you do while you're out there speaking, no matter if you do it online or on a real stage, to really boost your reputation, grow your network, attract clients, and everything else, grab that Speak to Scale map, and it's yours. It's free. And also a quick announcement. Now in June, in July, we're going to run our famous, fabulous professional speaker launch journey again, where we help people to really, again, step up with their speaking and build a solid foundation to go professional with their speaking. So if you have an interest in that, if you want to have a chat or you want more information, just send me a direct chat message and we can arrange a conversation about if that is the right thing for you and how that all works. But I really want to make sure that this session is not about me. It's not even about our guest. It's really all about you, and about you stepping up with your speaking and your business. And of course, we want to shine a great light on our guest, who is taking time out of her busy schedule to really inspire you and share with you practical hints and tips that you can apply right away for your own business, your own speaking. You can also ask your own personal questions on how to make your speaking and business flourish further in this call. And also, this is your opportunity to meet other professional speakers, to exchange with them, connect with them, and also get help and support from others on your own high priority projects. We're going to open the room at the end. So if you have something to announce you want others to know about, you can do that here as well. And of course, for some of you, it's like everyone in Europe, it's around lunchtime, right? For some others, for our American friends, it's breakfast time. And for some of you in Asia, maybe already it's dinner time. So simply take a break and have fun with us while we inspire you. Also, everyone that has been here before, you know that you can ask your questions anytime in the chat. I'll keep an eye out on that. Also, please mute yourselves when you're not speaking, because we are video recording this. Keep your video on. Hey, you are a speaker, you want to be seen, right? So again, let us be interactive with each other. So let's jump in right away after this introduction. Let's really jump in right away. What is our topic today? Today we'll talk about media power, how you get more media savvy to boost your exposure, to get more heard, to get more seen in media. Because to be honest, no one becomes actively public in the media by accident. It is a process, and it's really about understanding what the media is looking for and check if you can already provide it. And if you cannot provide it yet, we tell you what you need to really trigger their attention so that you can get ready. Because, again, if you're not ready, first get ready. You don't want to spoil your reputation, right? Because whatever you do in media, we know will be remembered for a long time. So in this session, what we'll share with you and what especially our guest shares with you is how you get ready to trigger interest with media, how you make a real impact, and also how you get the results you want when you are in media, that you're not just giving, but you're also harvesting, and how you secure many media appearances to really maximize your exposure. And who is our friend? Well, who is our guest today? Well, she is actually a friend of a really good friend of mine, and that is always a powerful connection. Her name is Geeta, and she's a 5-time winner of the Entrepreneur and Businesswoman of the Year award. She has really built an amazing reputation for success in the health and nutrition industry. Well, after her son was born with quite a few food allergies like an eczema and asthma and other things, she really had the courage to leave behind her career as a solicitor, and she started her own business, Nosh Detox, because she wanted to make a positive difference in the lives of thousands of others suffering from similar ailments like her little boy at the time. And as a director of the Open Britain campaign, she has played a pivotal role in the largest cross-party grassroots movement of recent times, campaigning for a democratic final say on the Brexit deal for the people in the UK. So, you know, she's also taken the role of chair and has been instrumental in building Open Britain's new campaign, Democracy Unleashed, which aims to re-energize the British democracy and make it fit for the 21st century. She's also retrained from a lawyer to a health and wellness coach for successful professional women. And, you know, she's a coach and she's doing so many things, and she's really a media darling. And her motto really is, change is inevitable, suffering is optional. Anything is possible. If you can see it, you can do it. If you can dream it, you can make it happen. So if you dream of stepping up and being more active in media, you're welcome. You're in the right place. Okay. So Geeta, it's amazing to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wonderful that you can be with us today.
Thank you very much. That was a great introduction. Do you ever, guys, when someone's introducing you, think, who are you talking about? It never quite feels like you.
I know that one.
So we have, I think, just under an hour. Now, my only caveat with all of this is please don't leave me to talk to myself. I really hate it. I really hate it. I have a radio show, and the only way I would do it is if I could talk to people. I'm like, I don't like to talk to myself. So if there are questions, there are things you want to ask, you know, just feel free, because I will really appreciate you be doing me a favor. There's a place where people always say things like any publicity is better than no publicity. And that's actually not true. It's just not true. In fact, what you're trying to do is all of us have something we're trying to do. We're trying to build a business. We're trying to build a speaking business. We're trying to reach more people. And some of us do it better than others. Yes. And there are people that you look at them and they always get somehow the publicity, and they get on the paper and they get in the press and they do whatever. And then you have the people that no matter how hard they try, never get in. What I want to say to you is that in the world that we're in today, because the way we live, because of the way social media is today, you really are your own narrator. You really are your own platform creator. And we're not in the world where we used to be even 5 years ago, where you had to have somebody else give you permission for you to be in the press and to be in the papers and in TV. You can create your own TV station. You can create your own newspaper articles. You can literally do anything you want for yourself to create your publicity. So firstly, let me say that, because the world has changed so much where it comes to this. Secondly, there is just a place where we only watch people that are interesting. If people aren't interesting, or they're not engaging, or they don't make you feel something, are you going to listen to them again and again? You're just not, because I can be bored in my own bedroom. Why do I need to come and be bored with you? And then when I'm bored with you, I want to throw things at you. And I'm like, well, why am I here? Why am I doing this? This is just not something I want to do. So I'm going to give you I have spent 25 years, I think, in the public eye. And most of it has been good. Some of it has been spectacularly painfully bad. When somebody decides to bury you, and they do, and they succeed, and they make anything up at any stage, and they will create something. And you know, so there is always a bad side and a good side. But when you do get a platform and you do get an ability to speak to somebody, firstly, you don't get there unless you're a particular version of yourself, which I'm going to talk about. then to stay there, you have to have a commitment to that, and then to decide what it is that you want to do with it afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to go through that. If there's something that I say that you know you don't, I'm not making clear or whatever, then please tell me. So the first thing is that when Monique very kindly introduced me, she said, nobody gets to known by accident. Actually, that is what happened to me. I never went looking for a kind of a fame. I've always struggled with that. My parents were very well known growing up, and I never wanted to be that person. But by the same token, I was very comfortable with people around me being famous. And what that did was it led to a lot of my clients in Nosh. We have a lot of celebrities, and in my coaching business, a lot of extremely household name famous people, because we created an environment where everybody was comfortable to do that. But I never, I'm trying to think how to say this. Don't you guys know someone whose only job is that they want you to notice them? Right? Do we know someone like that? Do you like them? Right? Don't be that person. Please don't be that person. That person's awful. That person really sucks. And that person is somebody that makes you feel bad when you're around them, and they make you feel like they're using you. You know, like when you're in a party and someone looks over your shoulder and they don't see you, right? So there's that sense that if I came here today to give you a parroted speech about how to become famous, that would be very different from the engagement you're currently having with me, because I'm talking to you as a person who's in the same place you're in and saying, here's how I think I can help you to get to a better place in terms of visibility, right? So firstly, when you're engaging anywhere, the goal is to be who you're going to be at all times. So the thing about before you get in the press is that I spent a lot of time in the press, a lot of time on TV, a lot of time on air. And the way it came about was this: when I'm on air, I'm interesting. Not a terrible thing to say, but I am. I'm actually interesting. Now, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm interesting. So the first thing is if you get a space, if you get it for 1 minute, you get it for 5 minutes, you get it for an hour, please, 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 just try and be interesting. Number one. Number two, you're not interesting if the only thing you're doing is talking about yourself. I know you think you're interesting, but you're not interesting to anyone else. The third thing is you're not interesting if the only thing you're trying to do is get someone to do something for you. That is not interesting. This is real life. What I'm doing with you here is engaging. Whether you are one person, and I've spoken to 1 million people live, which is the most frightening thing in the whole world. And I sweated buckets and I had to go and have a shower afterwards because I was scared shitless. But there is just a place that if you are afraid, that's great. It's adrenaline and you'll use that adrenaline. But definitely don't stand up there. The third thing is, like as I said, don't stand up there wanting to get something for yourself. Ever. Because any opportunity that somebody gives you to speak, your goal should be, what I'm going to do is I want to give you something that when you walk away will have changed how you think about something. And then that person will always remember you for being the person that helped them to transform. Make sense? Yes? And confusing to anybody at all? Okay. So the other thing with it is that, so when I started first going on TV and being in newspapers and doing whatever, what I would do is I would do a deal with whoever put me anywhere. And I'd say, I'll do this. I know you're not going to pay me, but I'll do it at midnight and I'll do it at 4 a.m. But can you please send me a tape of it? Can I watch it? And I would do the most painful thing in the whole universe is I would watch myself actually on air. And I hate it more than life itself. Well, actually, no, I hate more listening to myself. I hate all of it. I just don't want to do it. But I would watch it to see how I looked. And I had to discover the power of makeup because I hated makeup and I wouldn't wear it. But now that even men wear foundation, which really is a slightly weird for me, but then I'm probably old. But there's just a place where look at how you come across. Because how you come across is something that you can change constantly. I watched myself from over 6 months to a year. Every time I turned up on something, every time I saw myself, I would pick something, I would change it. I would look at myself, pick something, change it. Change one thing about every single appearance you make, just one. And then make sure you've changed it on the next thing. Okay. I know when somebody comes in and you get brand makeovers and do this and do that, you don't need to do any of that. Look at yourself and think, is this stupid or not? If it's stupid, change it. I used to love scarves around my neck. I have a great collection of Hermes scarves, and I used to wear them around my neck. And when you were looking at me, I looked like a disembodied head was floating on top of my shoulders. It was a really bad look. I literally looked like this. So I had to give up wearing scarves. Then I realized, I was like, I don't really like makeup. And then I realized that I had pores that were speaking to my audience very louder than my voice. I discovered foundation. And you know, so slowly, change one thing every single appearance, okay? And if there is one message that you are putting across, change that message every single conversation. So change your appearance, change your message every single time, but only one thing. Because if you use the power of changing one thing every time, by the time you've gotten to where you're going, it's an exponential growth, even though it's only one thing. Because you're starting from a better platform every single time that you do. The other thing with it is, when men have the advantage that when you look at a guy, like if we look at Alan, hi Alan, if we look at Alan, we're going to look at Alan, we're going to see Alan, right? But if we look at Dania or we look at Caitlin, you're going to look and you're going to automatically clock things about your hair, your skin, your dress, your body. We're just doing that because as humanity, we're trained to do it. So for women, you have to be very careful to be very groomed in what you're seeing when you're actually talking to people. This is on stage, this is in TV, this is in whatever they're, well, newspapers is irrelevant because, you know, it's done differently. But for a man, you're only going to notice what the man is saying. And this is super controversial, but trust me on this shit. With a woman, you're going to look at what she looks like. And if a woman has something that isn't right, you obsess about the thing that's not right about how she looks without listening to her. So when I go on TV and I'm wearing a nice dress where you can see my legs, I have no clue what the hell I'm talking about, just as a heads up. But if I'm wearing trousers and I'm covered from there down, I know exactly what I'm talking about and I want you to hear what I'm saying. Make sense? So you want to be in a place where you are really putting, as a woman, putting across what it is that you want to do. But you cannot come across as a masculine woman on air because people will hold it against you. And they will stop listening to you. Okay? So you want to be super clear, but nothing weird, like no bright pink lipstick or no, kind of a bit like this. I mean, you can't really tell what it is that I'm wearing or not wearing or whatever. It's kind of really basic, right? There's nothing that's really going to whack you in the face. So you're able to dismiss how I look and listen to what I'm saying. All right. So if anybody's having a problem with this, please let me know. Okay. So the other thing about it is that when somebody puts you anywhere near, the people that book you for TV shows are always going to be the researchers who take you to the producers who then pitch you into the show, right? Nobody else. So talking to the person who's the visible person on the show is irrelevant. They're never going to be the people that book you in. The people that book you in are earning 15,000, 20,000 pounds a year if they're lucky. And they're the people doing all the research and they're the people that are going to book you on the shows. And when they ring you to say, can you come on the show? Your next words are the words that will get you booked or not. Because they ring you, this is the process, they ring you and they say, what do you think about Elon Musk and Twitter? And you learn, because now you're like, oh, what's the show about? Yeah, well, I just want to know what is the show about? Well, we have is a bunch of people talking about whether Elon Musk should be sent to Mars and never allowed back on Earth, and other people who think Elon Musk is the most amazing thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So you have a lot of, which side have you got covered? Because what are they looking for? They're looking for people that are going to love Elon Musk and people that are going to hate Elon Musk. So what you want to do is make certain decisions. Number one, do you want to talk about Elon Musk? Like, I will never talk vaccination on air. Never. Haven't done it for years. No, never going to do it again. It's not worth it. So decide what you're never going to talk about. Then decide which side are you on. And actually, can you move sides if you need to? Because you can make an argument for most sides, right? If you put your mind to it, but do you want to? Like, I don't care about Elon Musk and I don't care about Twitter. So if you want me to send Elon Musk to Mars, I can give you a great argument. And if you want me to tell you Elon Musk is a great self-made man, I will also give you a great argument. I feel nothing about either of them. So you have to decide these things in advance. And the researcher doesn't care about any of this. The researcher wants to fill their slots, usually for the next day. Okay, so what you're trying to do is go, what do you want? Which side are you looking for? And then they're like, what do you think? And then I'm like, I think boom, 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 boom. So I make my 3 main points, because those 3 main points is what the researcher is writing down. Make their life easier. Tell them what you're going to say, and don't give them more than 3. And then they will go on and say yay or nay, or they'll say, let me come back to you. And then you can say things like, okay, if you're not going to use me, I would really appreciate a call or a text. Because otherwise you're sitting there waiting, because they usually tell you at 10 o'clock at night, because that's when they finish work for a 7 in the morning show. Yeah. So that's about getting on the show. It's always, always, always the researcher. There are lots and lots of groups actually nowadays where people have created spaces where journalists pop up requests for audio guests and requests for things. And I get asked to come on these all the time. And there's a lot of places you can put yourself in front of journalists, but wherever you live, there are going to be 3 or 4 main shows, right? Channels. And within those channels, there's going to be a few researchers. So you end up speaking to the same people again and again. The other thing I cannot stress heavily enough, please be ultimately absolutely charming to everyone, even if you think they're stupid and an idiot, because frequently people are stupid and idiots, and that's not their fault. They're just having a crap day. Please be charming, because what is going to happen is this person is going to be the person that creates that show in 5 or 7 years' time. You're going to run into the same people again and again and again. TV is a very small world, and people go upwards through it. So I have had jobs that have paid me huge amounts of money, and I've been on a show with 3 million people. It's gone all around the world. And it was from somebody who was bringing me tea, X number of years ago. And you said, thank you for the tea. These things really, really make a difference. So that's before you get on the show. Now, nowadays, we do a lot of Zoom as well as coming in person. If you're going to go in person to anywhere, they're going to be tracking you from the moment you get out. The car driver, because if they send you their own cars to pick you up, is going to feed back on who you are, how you are, what you were like. They will all talk to each other all the way. And this just happens all the time. It's a very small world. People will track what you were like and whether they want you back from the first minute they meet you. Yeah, it's just what they do all the time. When you get to, so if I'm doing a show, I did a show with a woman, and they asked me to come on, and she said that she said that women parents who worked from home were bad parents. And she was part of the National Women's Network or something. And she said, yeah, they said, will you come on and talk about this woman? Because I've worked from home because my son was ill for, 20 something years. And she said, will you come on and talk about it? Now, I made a decision what was going to happen before I went on that show. And my decision was that I was going to bury that woman because she was irritating. Like, who says things like that to people? If you've got to work from home, it's all women. So why would you attack other women? Like nowadays, men also work from home, but in the old, it's generally been women who work from home because you have to, because you have children. Who are you to turn around and try and make me feel bad about working from home? So I decided I was going to bury her. So I make the decision about what no, I really did. I was like very annoyed with the woman, and I did bury her. I was very successful in what I set out to do. But you want to be really clear what it is that you want from that interaction. Like my desire to come on here today was because I like Monique, I want to be helpful, and people are very rarely really honest about all of this. So that was my intention before I came on. So I'm sticking with that intention, but make your intention clear before you start the process. You don't have to tell anyone about it. I didn't tell anyone I was going to bury her, but they assumed from my previous experiences with me that there was a high chance I was going to bury her. Yeah. So this is not a place where you want to be nice because you're a girl. And girls like to be nice. This is not the place. Be nice somewhere else. Go phone someone and be nice to them. And then come and bury whoever it is that you're burying. What is TV? What is press? It's entertainment. So choose how entertaining you want to be and choose in which way you want to entertain. And then the next thing is that you have 4.5 seconds to be entertaining, right? So I get really excited and I do this. And I remember one of my friends coming and going, you're too intense. I'm like, what do you mean intense? Like, you're just too intense. So, he's showing me this thing and he goes, you're frightening. You can't do this and you have to not do this. So I had to actually watch what I was doing, dial it back down. So I was less intense, because an intense woman is an unattractive woman. So what happens when you're finding a woman unattractive? You stop listening to her. So nobody was listening to anything except that they thought I was a scary, intense woman. So this is my job, right? It's part of my job. So I was like, bollocks, or something very similar to that. Apologies, Monique. And then I went away. And now when I'm talking, my voice is always very low. It stays low, because as we get excited, our voices go really high, and especially as women, don't do it. Nobody can hear you. So my voice stays very low and it comes from my stomach. And then when I find myself getting excited, you'll see me, and then I'll sit back and I'll be like, oh, and then but then that's something I've noticed, or somebody has been kind enough, because people will always tell you, by the way, everybody has an opinion on what you look like. Decide if you want to hear that opinion, or you don't want to hear that opinion before you start, because they will tell you. In fact, the nation regularly tells me I'm an idiot on TV, and you just have to think, well, how do I feel about myself? Yeah. So as women, for men, it's just easier in the appearance thing. We just have to look groomed and clean and wear a crisp kind of a shirt and be fine. And for women, it's just, you have to be careful of your texture, your tone, the sound. And then there's a place where actually the other thing I had to learn post-pandemic, again, was that not just to dial down the intensity, but dial up the femininity within the intensity. So before I buried this woman, which was not very long ago, I had to go, so I really disagree with you, and there's just that thing where you're like, oh, but it's TV. It was there. I had 4 to 6 minutes to do it, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. So it was really intentional. So be intentional about it and show up with that. When you've done the show, be nice to the people that booked you, always, and thank them. It was really great. If you ever need anyone to talk about health, wellness, blah, 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 please think of me. I'm here, is the thing that I always do. And then I download that thing and I plaster it everywhere I can. And then I set up a poll on LinkedIn talking about the thing that, actually you'll be able to, on my LinkedIn, you'll be able to see this one where I buried this chick. And then I put a poll on it and got everybody really annoyed about her saying parents who work from home were bad parents. So you can actually see that. I forgot about that. That's there. Okay, I've talked to myself for half an hour, guys. There must be something you want to say. I thought we agreed that I wasn't going to talk to myself. No? Okay, what else do I want to cover? Harvesting media appearances. Your media appearances are there to give you authority and credibility, right? So the thing that makes me successful, I question whether I am, I must be successful because I'm on regularly, right? So I suppose that's a measure of success. My media appearances give me immense credibility because I am a very particular kind of person, right? And I've chosen, like, I was a lawyer and I wore black suits, and I will never do that again. I will wear big earrings and I will have long hair, and I never swear on live TV, but I will have a different, and I'm quite frivolous, and I like that about me. So I use my media appearances to give credibility and authority to enable me to be as quirky as I want to be. That makes sense, right? I'm very intentional about that because I don't want to behave like anyone else. It's just not what I'm looking for. So therefore, my media appearances is what I use in order to be able to be more of myself, because the older I get, the more I want to be who I am and not have to explain to somebody why and how and what I'm doing, right? So what do you guys struggle with? Do you struggle with getting seen? Do you struggle with, why are you on this call, right? There must be a reason you're on the call. What's that reason? What did you want to learn? What did you come to do or say? Or did you just come because you were bored?
Danya, you unmuted yourself. Do you want to ask something?
Yes, I want to ask some. Actually, I wanted to know how to get into media in the first place. How to get appearances or performances in medias.
So the fastest way to start is to hire PR. That's the fastest way. And you go to the PR and you say, I just want you. I want to pay you only to book me on to any form of, decide if it's TV or the press. Go to any PR agency and say, what's the cheapest amount of money I can give you to put me in any form of press? Because I was in the papers for years before I went on to anything else. So it always starts with the end of the thread. I know everybody wants to turn up on TV, but if you start with, how do I get into the press? And there's a lot of PR companies that will do very cheap access to getting you printed in the press, right? So I started with digital Yahoo. Right? I mean, how hard is it to get on the digital format of Yahoo? Well, I don't know, luckily, because I had nothing to do with it. But I negotiated my first ever PR. I think I paid them 200-300 quid. And I was like, I just want you to get me in any press. And once I got into small bits of press, then I got into other bits of press. The other thing to do in this day and age is to, if you can't afford any PR, is to follow journalists that are in your field that you like, that write about things, and interact with them and interact intelligently. Because not, oh, I think you're so amazing. Well, that's really helpful, but who cares? Really, if they're going to talk about, I don't know, menopause, let's just pick a number, the thing that's been in the press, and you know something very specific about menopause, like you must have estrogen within 5 years of starting menopause, otherwise you can't have it afterwards, then you write to them and you go, I love what you're saying, and did you know this? None of this is going to come about without the effort, right? So you have to choose where the effort comes in. It's either giving your money to someone else to make the effort, or it's for you to make the effort. So interacting. So there's like, I wanted to get into Grazia, and I could never get into frigging Grazia because they would only have blonde white women in Grazia, and it used to really irritate me because I was like, what the hell is wrong with you people? So I offered them a free product and I got them in a room, and then I sat in front of the editor of Grazia and I was like, hi, yeah, so you guys don't put any brown people in your magazine. And I got a double page spread in the Grazia like a month later. So that takes being a bit sneaky. You don't look like I gave you anything of value. Did you want something that was, I don't know. This is literally how it works. It starts with the small thing and then it becomes a bigger thing. And if you're interesting and you're memorable and you're entertaining, then people think of you and they think you're a resource. You only ever go on media as a resource. So how much of a resource can you be to someone that they feel they need to use you again and again, and then they will keep using you? And you're pretty, so they'll actually put you on something visible as well. But it was...
I understand what you say. So hiring a PR manager is the easiest and fastest way.
Yes.
So what is the fee you normally pay? This I didn't get.
It depends on where you are. It depends on where you are and who you're speaking to. There are many, many ways these days. You don't have to hire an agency. That's the most expensive. Mm-hmm. You can hire a PR freelancer. Mm-hmm. And what has happened with, like, I went on Upwork and we hired a PR freelancer, mm-hmm. and we checked how many people she had relationships with and if they, mm-hmm. were the media I wanted to be in. Okay. And then she pitched us to that media. Mm-hmm. And you set up a contract for 3 months and you say, here's what I want, and tell me what you think you can do. And when they tell you what, they give you a written proposal, always, of what they think they can do. And that written proposal is very helpful because it tells you where they have relationships. Mm-hmm. And then you choose to hire them or not hire them. And then you go from that.
Okay, and I also can approach directly by myself. For example, I want to be in a special magazine, and and I see, for example, on LinkedIn that this journalist is writing something. I say, oh, this is a great article, but did you consider also this and this and this?
I wouldn't say but, I would say and.
And yeah.
Yeah, because the but makes it sound like, oh, I know more than you. The and is like, how can I help you? The more of a resource that you are, the more effective it will be, the relationship that you develop.
Okay, because because I was stepping now into this journalist thinking, and I would say, of course, I'm thinking of this because, but I can't write everything here now. So, you know.
Well, no, and
I don't want to approach her and she says, oh, of course, who do you think I am? I am a journalist. I know everything.
But number one, Dani, she doesn't know everything. Number two, you're not going to die if she says no. You're literally not going to die. I mean, to me, no is the start of a conversation. Honestly, it's more important what I think of me than what you think of me. And you have to come from that place. It is much more important what you think of you than what she thinks or he thinks of you. So if there is a journalist that you're interested in, make friends with the journalist. Write, talk, stalk. There's the name of the book. Write, talk, stalk.
Okay.
But I am known over this period of time by people, and they're like, oh, we want this, 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 and they'll think, oh yeah, how about Geeta? So write and talk till they get to know you, and you are the person that they're standing out in their memory and their mind.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Geeta, there's also other platforms. You mentioned a couple of platforms where journalists are connecting with contributors, right? Maybe you can mention some of these platforms. I mean, I've been on. I
don't remember them.
Okay, I can look them up. I can share them also.
Lightbulb. I think there's something called Lightbulb on Facebook.
I think there's also one like ask a journal or ask journalists asking or contribute for journalists or anything like that. I mean, I also checked some of them out in the past. Another way is, again, networking is powerful. So, I have some friends that are actually regularly being featured in magazines. And then they either, ask me to contribute because, again, people that are featured in magazines regularly, they like to actually even involve others to share some of the content and so on. So in this way, I got featured recently in the Brains magazine or also in Entrepreneur magazine, because, if people write for these kind of magazines on a regular basis and they know you. So if you know people that are regularly, writing for magazines, Danya, you could also ask them, either they can bring you in and invite you to also write for magazines on a regular basis. So that will, raise your reputation and visibility in this way. Or they write an article where they actually quote and comment on you. And then again, when you've been featured in a few magazines, again, you can put it onto your website so people see that you've been featured in magazines or in media already. So that again, it raises their trust that you have something to say. So when, a TV channel see that you have been on a show already, increases the chance that they say, oh, I can have Danya as well because she's been featured recently, right?
And also that's good advice. And also there comes a place where, use name dropping effectively. Right. So if you have any reason to name drop effectively, like I'm a coach, so I have massive NDAs with my clients and I can't, but Gwyneth Paltrow recommended us to Vogue magazine. And I'm like, you better believe I'm telling people that. Right. I mean, it's not the first thing. We've been on the call for 42 minutes and I've mentioned it. So it's not the first thing I'm going to say, but you better believe I'm going to say that at some stage. Right. I have a member of the British royal family as a coaching client. That's going to come up at some stage when I'm talking. Those things are always going to come up because why would I not say them, but say them nicely? Because if you sound like a moron, nobody wants to hang out with you.
Right. Okay. I know Kuljit is raising her hand and Kathleen. So Kuljit, why don't you go first?
Yeah. Hey, Geeta, it was really nice listening to whatever you had to share. I had a little question as you moved along. You spoke of change one thing every single appearance, and you followed it with change your message every single time that you speak. I was wondering if you could tell us some examples of what you really mean when you say change your message.
become more effective at saying what you want to say. So for example, somebody came back and said I was too intense. I changed how I want to say what I want to say. And naturally I'll be like, ooh, so, but on TV, because it's such a big medium and your face is coming bigger than, you don't have to be in everyone's face. So they'll always make you sit a bit further back. And then, so that's still part of your message, right? It's not just what you're saying, it's how you're also saying it. It's how you look and how you're saying it.
So you're talking the delivery alongside.
Yeah, delivery, and especially for women. Honestly, I cannot tell you how delivery is such a big deal, because it literally, you stop listening to women. Like if I was talking to you the whole time and my hair was like this, nobody would listen to me. You just wouldn't be listening to me. All you'd be doing is going, why is her hair in a stupid face? Right? It just, whereas, you know, if Alan, do we have hair there? Just move something. Alan would not, you know, you would just listen to him and think, oh, I wonder what, and you'd carry on. It's so different for women. And then also hone your message. Say, I'm very clear and very blunt about what it is I'm trying to say. On live TV, I'm a bit politer. Because you also don't want to come across as a really hard-nosed cow. Because again, as a woman, you can't do that.
I have a question, Geeta, about the appearance. I mean, and this is really stressy for women to be perfect looking, you know. who is judging? Are these men or are these women?
Oh, it's usually the women. It's always the women.
Okay.
Really, you need to ask that. It's you know, it's the women. And also, you know, feel free to think, oh, screw you, I don't care if you judge me. But and that's where the places where I have decided it is irrelevant to be judged, I am quirky in those places. And then there are places I toe the line 100% because it suits me. If it didn't suit me, I wouldn't toe the line. So you must decide for yourself what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I agree with you. And also the target audience matters. Like, for example, may not be television, but let's say if you compare LinkedIn with, let's say, Instagram, the entire target audience is very different. So I guess the messaging changes right there, because here you have a young, you know, different kind of genre of people who are there on Instagram, typically looking at something else altogether vis-a-vis a LinkedIn, which is more professional in nature. So I guess messaging changes.
It really matters. And also, like, I have a client who, as a coaching client, who runs a company, a tech company called FinCap. And she came in when she was like turning over about 2 or 3 million. And we've helped grow that business through a public offering all the way through to a really big company. I think 47 million was her last revenue posted. And I've worked for her for years. And it was so funny because she got a full page in the Financial Times. And I was like, oh my God, amazing. Well done. I'm so proud of you. And she wrote back going, no. Go back and look at the color of the dress. And she wore a pink dress in order to be on this thing. And so there's a part where you know, it just has to work for you. It has to be something that because she shows up at her most successful, because she's at her most feminine. But even for men in this day and age, finding your feminine in order to show up is always going to make you more empathic, more valuable, more trusted. There's a great interview that Mo Gada did in Diary of a CEO. He was head of Google X, and he said that hypermasculinization of society is our biggest problem, and that men and women need to find their feminization to be the best leaders that they can be, right? And so, and the more powerful I have become, the more feminine I am. And that's something that's really working for me. And you should work it out for you, but know yourself, really, in terms of press, really, really, really know yourself. Caitlin, you've been trying to speak for a while.
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for being here and for taking your time to be here inspiring us. So I have a question regarding the first notes that I took from your words. So you recommend us to be interesting, to not talk about ourselves. And the third thing was something about don't try to get people to do something for us. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you go to see someone speak on stage and the only thing they're doing is selling their product the whole way through. Do you just want to shoot them? It's like, why did I even get out of bed? Really, just send me a note saying buy this shit and then we're done. So don't be that person.
Okay,
Literally,
because The question that I have is because I watch a lot of TED Talks, and sometimes I see that people, they have some type of call to action in the end, so that the people that are seeing that speech, they go and do some type of action next. And my question for you is, what type of call to action could we have?
So that's different. Like Monique's call to action in the beginning was really lovely, and it was not salesy, and it was effortless, right? Now, if you're talking about a call to action in life, that's very different to a call to action on TV. If you're on TV, you don't need a call to action. The simple fact that you're on TV will lead to a massive spike in people searching for you.
Okay.
Either because they love you or they hate you, let's be clear, but they will search for you. So once you're on the press, you don't need as many call to actions. They're looking for you. In written press, you will always give them, if you're talking about something. So for example, if I was using this as a marketing opportunity, I would have created a 5 ways to get seen in media and send that to you, and you can download it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my job. You know, I don't want to sell you another way to get seen, you know, so I'm not gonna give you that, but I could have, because that would have made sense based on the talk. So it should have some continuity.
Okay, yeah.
You want to learn how to be a powerful feminized leader, then phone me. I'm good at that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Any other questions coming up? Kunjit, you still have your hand up. Does that mean you want to know more, or are you? Okay, you took it down. Good. Well, but we have a few others. Anthony, Alan, Elenia, Adam, Harpa, and others.
Alan is
I can
coming
ask you
in.
one question,
Yeah, go
just from
ahead.
the other side of the aisle. So thank you, Geeta, for giving a lot of insights here. And of course, this is all about perception, how people perceive you and what you communicate and how you look. I guess it's much more vital for the women to be, you know, more presentable than the men. It's a little bit easier for us. But in terms of off-putting, so if it's an interaction between men and women in a conversation that's happening, let's say it's a journalist, and if a man is talking to a woman, or other way around, what do you think is off-putting when a man is, you know, is it when he's speaking? What are the things that you can say that, you know, that's these are things which is off-putting if a man speaks it like this, either body language or tone?
So it's a really good question, and thank you very much for asking that, Alan. So there's a couple of things. Men and women, so this is something again that we teach, but men and women speak completely differently, right? Men think that women are non-hairy men, and women think that men are hairy women, and there's this problem because the lack of communication in how we come across. So in terms of now, if you're doing this on Zoom, I would change your camera so that you could see more of your head.
Yeah,
and
I'm just sitting in a cubicle right now.
Yeah, but I would still, you can still change your camera so that there's more of you visible. The other thing is that if you notice, your hands are here and you're doing this, and my hands are here. And what I'm doing is I'm adapting to the fact that my hands are near my face, because this is what you can see of me. So firstly, if you're going to use your hands, use them up here, not down here. Can you see? There's just a space there. Men talk in sentences, and when they finish, the other man starts talking. Women don't talk like that. When men are talking, when a woman is talking, the other one will go, oh, really? And you know the woman is listening because she's interrupting you by saying something along the way. So women speak differently to men. So that's one thing to understand. So just because a woman is interjecting along the way does not mean she's not listening. It shows she's actually listening to you. Number two, the thing with a man when you're interacting with a woman is that, well, first, don't explain things to her because, you know, pisses her off. But the other thing is intensity from a man is very unnerving for a woman. Calm competency is much easier to hear. Right? So when you become very, very intense as a man and very aggressive, the woman has stopped listening to you completely. Whereas you're a unicorn if you're a man that sounds empathic and emotionally intelligent, and that journalist is a woman, she's going to hang on to you with both hands and keep you forever. Because it's just like, oh my God, how amazing are you? Again, Diary of a CEO, he does this really well because he's much younger. It's a millennial sort of Gen Z thing. They do it very well, actually, because they're just brought up differently. Usually just by women, but yes. Did I answer your question?
Good insights. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Perfect. And you look better now that I can see all of your body, head
awesome.
thing.
I don't see any hands up at the moment, Geeta, but I know that you also, I don't know if that is something you want to talk about, but you said you wanted to share with us how to tell your story in 5 words or less and make a real impact. I know a lot of people struggle with introducing themselves in a crispy short
I
manner.
know, but yeah, I was hoping you weren't going to say that.
Um,
5 words. Five words
it can be 10 or it can be whatever. But I know that it doesn't need to be 5 words or less. It's like, how do you actually craft a major message to trigger media attention? Maybe you can speak on that.
Basically, you've got to know who you are for all of this, right? You've got to know what you're doing. And actually what you're doing is you're saying, I help you do this so that this. That's all you're ever doing, right? You're not doing anything else.
The standard
elevator
pitch formula, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So I help, particularly women, but I help people learn how to feel powerful so that they have greater impact. I mean, I'm not sure about the 5 words, but that's what I do. I do that all day, every day. You work with me if you want to feel more powerful and step up as more powerful. And that's what I'm really good at. And it's what I enjoy. Now, I've got to believe what I'm saying, right? So funny story. So when I did a lot of public speaking, and I'm a really high functioning introvert, and I like being quietly in my corner, but I'm really great on TV and I'm really great on a stage. And then I go home and I don't have to talk to anyone and I'm really happy. So then in 2018, I was like, I have to change this and I have to get better at speaking on stages and, doing all the stuff, because it used to just terrify me. And then when I got better, I accepted every speaking thing that came in front of me. And I just ended up speaking once a week. Now, when I hit the end of 2019, I was like, I need to up my game. And the thing that I had to up my game was I struggled as a woman to understand how to feel like a powerful woman. So I made a commitment to myself, because that's the most important commitment. And I said, every time I speak, I will say, I'm a very powerful woman and I really like that about myself. And I have said that at every talk. And I do like almost, and I mean, it's been really scary in some places, right? Because I'm speaking to a group of venture capitalists and it's all men and I'm saying this and I'm just like, someone's going to go, no, you're not. You're waiting for people to slap you down, And I say it every time I talk. And it is really interesting how it changes. This is a Monique thing about the voice, but it changes when you, like now, when I say that, I don't make you uncomfortable. I don't make you want to fight me. I don't make you think, oh my God, terrible woman. I don't believe her, because I'm comfortable with what I'm saying. So when you say the thing that you help other people with, say it again and again and again and again until you believe it in your system. When you're happy with it in your body, people believe you. They really believe you. So it's so much about believing it for yourself. All the work you're ever going to have to do is always internal. And the more internal work that you have, the more impact and visibility you're going to have. And the more afraid you are, and like Daniel was saying, like the journalist is going to say, I know everything. I mean, journalists know never to say that, because actually their job is finding information from other people. So if you become a person that's a resource, they'll come from there. Make sense? So what's the thing you're really afraid to say about yourself? Now's a good time.
Yeah, and I just put in a little challenge here for everyone to just share their message here in the chat, because that's a great way of getting to know each other and trying it out, right? And I love it, Geeta. It's so true. Our message is so much in sync with who we are, and our business is called Heart Powered Business. So I always say that again, heart holds power. And again, when we know what we are about and we come from our heart, that is when we are not just connecting mind to mind with people, but heart from heart, right? From heart to heart.
So that's the thing. Look at what Monique's just said. Monique's just talked about how she comes from her heart and stuff. Now, I chair 2 charities. One is the Microloan Foundation, which helps people in Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And then I chair the Montessori organization, for which I don't get paid. Those are 2 jobs I do. I would never say the words Monique has just said. You would have to shoot me before I would say I come from a heart-powered space and this and this. Monique was authentic coming from that space. I'm more likely to tell you to get stuffed than have that conversation, right? Because we're so different people. But Monique, I would never say that in a million years.
Of course.
I will talk about, but isn't it wonderful though? But that's what I'm saying. Look at the difference between us.
Of course.
Monique will come from there and sound amazing saying that. And I will say, let's all be powerful and take over the world and be, you know, that's what I want to do. So we all come from our space. Find your space, and then that sense of alignment makes your light shine much brighter.
Great, love it. I love Kathleen shared hers, help ambitious business owners to build profitable business so they can have more time to do what matters most. Great. Okay. And Elenia, I help conscious and brilliant entrepreneurs bring a vision to reality by reaching the next level of personal fulfillment.
Okay, I don't know, Elenia, what personal fulfillment means.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use that because I don't know what personal fulfillment means.
Okay.
So I wouldn't use that. Define for me, you know, I'm a conscious and brilliant entrepreneur, and I get the point about the vision.
I can tell that.
Thank you. But what does it mean, personal fulfillment, right? So you need to better identify that so
Okay.
that people can interact with it.
So it refers to the quality of the life experience that you have in your business environment, which is something that I experienced personally in the past, like 20 years of running two family businesses. And the experience was very, very, very hard and very difficult. So now that I've managed to figure out things and elaborate a framework and work as a coach, I want to kind of get back. It's like giving myself a second chance to get back there and help visionary entrepreneurs that are in pursuit, meaning they're not talking about creating a business, but they are actually in action, reaching the next level. So bolster business results while actually curating their the quality of their experience.
Okay, so all of that sounds amazing, but it's not emotional.
Okay.
It sounds rehearsed and it's not emotional. So what I want you to do is conscious, brilliant entrepreneur, love that. Vision, love that. Reality, love that. While living a balanced, fulfilled life. You know what I mean? Make it more emotional, because if you make it emotional, then you're talking to me. Whereas if you don't make it emotional, it's kind of like a tagline.
Yeah.
Okay. Grazie.
Or something like, you know, to help them live the life they love, or something like that, right? So again, as Geeta is saying, it's emotional and concrete. We always say that make a difference between concrete and abstract language, okay? Abstract is where, when you speak about personal fulfillment, people don't see anything. It's like words like productivity or, you know, or things like that. People say yes, 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 and they have no picture in their mind. Concrete language means it's like even words like, you know, whenever we say words like children or castle or something like that, or trees, right? Again, you know, it might not be what you're doing. You need to find your own words. But again, when we hear these words, we start seeing pictures. And when you can start seeing pictures, we can start, you know, feeling emotions around these pictures. Okay, everyone will see a different castle, but we all still see a castle, right? So, but yeah, we can have a conversation about how to sharpen your message. Okay?
Yeah, and also I you know, it's sort of personal fulfillment. If you tell me I'll make 5 million and I'll have no personal fulfillment for a couple of years, I'll trade you that for 5 million. I'm an entrepreneur. No, but let's be clear. I'll trade you that for a couple of years.
Okay.
You know, so what do you mean by that? Are you saying don't get sick?
It's actually about connecting with a place, with an emotional state, an energetic place where you're actually, you know, happy and in pursuit of whatever you are doing. So I was in the space where I was.
So you love
stressed.
your life more.
Yes. So you're not pushing, overcoming, overextending your energy. You're not doing everything with the, you know, feeling or sensation of not being supported by quality thinkers, but by people that are actually, you know, enrolled powerfully in your vision, and you are having fun while doing it. So there is the quality, the essence of the energy that you can breathe and leave while you're working is totally different.
Yeah, you're living more in joy. Find the emotion.
Okay.
Because that's emotional, what you just said.
It's definitely the
Put it in the words.
Main thing is inspiration. When you are inspired, enthused, when you are in love with whatever you're doing, and you're not, you know, making yourself sick because you don't want to go to work. So you're excited, enthused, elated. This, once again, is kind of sophisticated, and there is always a fine line between being sophisticated and complicated in your message. So, anyways, make it tangible.
Just find an emotion. Find the emotion I can connect to, and then I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. And Kuljit, to become a powerful and incredible version of themselves. Why, Kuljit? What's going to happen when they're a powerful and incredible version of themselves? That's what you want to answer. Like, I want to
Yeah, all right.
be
So
the
I'm
most
an image
powerful
scientist,
version.
and this
Yeah.
has been my research area. And I have, yeah, so like I said, I'm an image scientist, and my entire research for many years has been exploring how people think of themselves. And the entire findings that emerged out of the research was like, it's really low. People have work on low self-esteem, low self-worth, and all of that. And they have generally a very poor impression about themselves. So I'm actually on a mission, more than just making this my bread and butter. I'm on a mission to make a positive difference to the lives of people by helping them to enhance their image and become a powerful version of themselves. So that's exactly what I kind of tried to scribble quickly. So when they become powerful, they become more confident about themselves.
Exactly. There you go.
They're actually able to dare to dream. They're actually able to actualize their dreams and move forward in a more legit manner, and probably just dream of doing anything they want to.
No, confidence. I'll take confidence. Confidence is great. That's a wonderful. I'll do that. I'd buy that.
All right.
Okay, great. I think we should start wrapping up again. I hope you all took some great hints and tips away, not only on how to get into media, but I think we did an extra bonus round on how do you sharpen your message as well. So thank you, all of you, for being on with us today, and also Geeta for taking your time out of your busy agenda. Thanks for sharing all your golden nuggets. And again, next month we will be back with another speaker community call. So all of you, please keep an eye out. And if you want to connect with Geeta, how can people get in touch with you?
Instagram, LinkedIn, they're all Geeta Sidhu-Robb. Just go in and find me on anything. Feel free to.
Perfect. Thank you for being on with us today, and thanks everyone. And we'll be in touch in the Hot Power Global Nation and beyond. Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.